Hello, what's up, everyone? I hope you're all doing well and had a fantastic weekend as usual. Pretty chill one on my side. And of course, I hope that everyone is healthy and had a beautiful trading week. Very quick recap. Of course, this week, what you wanted to see was a jump to $61,000 with a Monday high. Both things happened, but as usual, let's just wait a couple of seconds before I dive into the weekly recap. So, if anyone is in the live chat, could you let me know if the sound is good? Mm, I'll wait just a bit. Hello, Jean-Pierre. Audio and the stream are good. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. And of course, as usual, it's great to see you. I hope that you are doing well. So with that said, let's dive into everything. The announcements would just take a couple of seconds, the weekly recap, which will also be very quick, and finally, what we are seeing right now and what we can potentially expect this week. So for the announcements, you guys all know, let me just do this. If you guys want to trade with a 30% fee discount on BitChinex, you can go ahead and sign up with the referral link, which will be available in the description of the live stream. And of course, if you want access to our imbalance indicator, which once again helped us find this resistance and also gave us the trigger with the 12-hour imbalance. Same thing this week with the Monday high with a lot of imbalances. The link will also be available in the description. So once again, last Sunday, what did we want to see? Was fairly simple. I personally wanted to see one more fake out above that high to then see a reversal to the downside. And once again, what did you want to see? The date is still down there. I wanted to see a Monday pivot. Now, at first, if you guys remember, I didn't really want to see price move much higher than this high. However, going over to the Discord, as we were getting the move up a bit above that level, I was still keeping my mind open for a Monday pivot. Why? Because the pump this early in the week was very off to me. We covered all of this inside the Tuesday update. But for me, well, of course, first of all, I didn't really have my trigger for the short, but also I pretty much had one level in mind, which was this 4-hour imbalance, got front shone by a couple of dollars, as you can see right there. And then for the trigger, it was just annoying because we didn't really have to reach that level. It's just I didn't even have a way to trigger a short position, which was quite annoying. Once again, I was ready for the Monday pivot and of course a drop to $61,000, which were all outlined last Sunday. So I was not able to catch a short. We can now remove this Sunday plan. Let's remove this level as well. We don't need to remove anything else. So after that, I just didn't do much because we got the reversal to the downside. The Monday high at this point, price was still at 64.5. But what I wanted to see next was still $61,000, of course, as outlined on Sunday. We were getting that drop. I even tried the short on Wednesday morning. Took the short as 4 a.m. So my head was on the verge of exploding. And not only did I take the short, go to sleep, and wake up to being stopped out. I mean, I was just tired to the max. Sounds good. Hello, Chocolate. It's nice to see you. Interesting name. So I took this short at like 4 a.m. My head was gonna explode and ended up getting stopped out. Logic behind that short was fairly simple. We had this obvious high in my opinion, and I just wanted to see it get front shone. And on Binance, what did we have up there? We had this 30-minute imbalance, so I ended up executing right up here with a stop loss above that high. Ended up getting swept actually with a 30-minute imbalance on Bybit right there. So that was it for my, no, actually I did take another long, which was at $61,000, which was the target for the week. Once again, volume was great. I mean, this one didn't offer a good reaction, but we had a 30-minute imbalance right there at $61,000, which was a very, very important imbalance. Binance, same thing, we had a 1 hour at 61. Didn't get recovered instantly. Unfortunately, we got the drop further to the downside first. So, yeah, just mediocre execution from my part. I now called this high at 67, which was once again the only swing trade that we had in this entire range. You guys can go back in the live stream anyway. I'm sure that all of you know that was the only swing trade that I shared, and the target for this, if you remember, I have removed it from the history, but the target for this, if you remember, was $54,000. That was exactly what the trade looked like. If you guys remember, stop loss at 68 and the target was at 54. So this one is playing beautifully, was predicted in advance, and this Monday pivot, exact same thing. So yeah, not too happy with my execution, but as usual, we move on. Good to have you. You have a good weekend. Excited for the stream as usual. Did you want to wait the whole night for that 30 minute? It's not that I wanted to wait the whole night, but it's just I wanted to wait for the daily open because the daily open was right there. And as you guys know, well, I don't like wickless daily candles. What does this mean? If I want to see a quick move to the downside, usually I would expect that wick to be formed in the Asian session in the first hour, for example, because if they want to move price further lower very quickly, what you will get is the daily wick to the upside in this case, because once again we are looking for a reversal to the downside. So we had the daily open, we had the bounce. Personally, I thought that was the upper end of the daily wick to then get that reversal. It was, I mean, it wasn't 100% correct, but the logic behind it was very correct with the daily open, because once again, if you got the daily, what happened? We had that wick to the upside, which ended up pushing us lower. So that's why I had to wait for the daily open, and for me, the daily open is very late. It's pretty much at 3 a.m. So I had to wait even 1 hour after that, which is 4 a.m. And yeah, so it was kind of annoying, I have to admit, but it is what it is. So that was the logic behind this setup. Of course, it is something that you can use in the future if you don't really expect price to push much further in a certain direction and the daily open is moving in the opposite direction. So in this case, it was a move to the upside while I was targeting $61,000. Then you can expect price to not spend too much time above the daily open. For a long, of course, it would be below the daily open. So that was the logic behind it. Now, that was it for the recap. Of course, not much else to say, but once again, I do have to admit, beautiful weekly plan. Wanted to see the drop to 61, and even when I did the update on Tuesday, if you guys remember, I didn't expect $61,000 to hold over the long term. I just wanted to look for a day trade to then look for that move lower, which did end up happening. It's just it happened straight away. Anyway, moving on. What can we expect this week? Well, as mentioned on Thursday, what do we have this week? We have the monthly open on Wednesday, which would be right there. Okay, we have the new monthly open on July. And for me, going back over to the higher time frame plan, I still believe it is quite too early to get that move to 54 to 52. If anyone is new, I am looking for a bottom, not looking for a massive crash like I think most people are calling for at the moment. For me, I would just like to see one more drop to the downside and that would be it. However, once again, I think it is a bit early to look for that drop to the downside, especially that we have the monthly open right ahead. So in my opinion, what I would love to see this week would be actually not just this week, but this month would be sideways to higher price action. I'm not looking for a massive pump, of course, because I do believe you will get chopped. However, I do have to admit getting a breakdown from here would be fairly surprising to me. Of course, I could be wrong and I don't trade the weekend, so right now I'm not looking for a long position. But very quickly, by the way, what happened on Friday? That was on Binance. We had the drop right on Friday, and I did say on Thursday that I expected a quiet Friday. So we got this drop, 230-minute imbalances, fairly easy day trade that you could have taken up for a very good bounce. I think that was 3%, so actually above 2%. So fairly easy day trade with the 230-minute imbalances, and as mentioned, I did expect Friday to go sideways. So right now, with all of this outlined, we have the monthly open. Personally, I still think it's early to break to the downside. What can we look for this week? Well, we can instantly look at that liquidity, which has now been taken. However, I don't think the sweep is big enough. Volume is very good. We have 1, 2, 3 early imbalances. And what do we have as a support? It doesn't have to get reached, but it would be like, let's say we go sideways until the weekly open, get one more sweep, and then come back up. I think that is something that you could keep in mind. Personally, once again, I am not opening a long position just because I do not trade the weekends. I prefer to go to sleep, wake up tomorrow, and then I will outline what we can look for on Monday and the rest of the week. But for now, as we have that liquidity, that support, the very nice volume on the drop, I think it lines up pretty well with the fact that we could see a bit of sideways price action this week. So ideally, enough yapping about the context. What I would look for, let's get the weekly open right there, I think. And then we could look for a Monday pivot. And then potentially a Tuesday low. Maybe right there. So what I have in mind would be something like that. Remove this. To the upside, I can definitely see that we have, what do we have? Daily imbalance, which is right now a partial fill. 12-hour, also imbalance plus order block, so you can take this area. 4-hour, same imbalance, so you could just take that level above. And 1 hour, well, 1 hour imbalance, and now we have the volume on this drop. So I think something like this would be fairly nice. Drop, let's say we pump back up, get a Monday high, go sideways, drop into Tuesday, and then we see that reversal to the upside into the monthly open. Yeah, the monthly open. I was gonna say something else, but I have nothing else to say. So I think something like this week would be fairly interesting. My first target to the upside, I had one in mind. Which one was it? It was this one. My first target to the upside would be 62.8 because we have this 12-hour. We have a daily imbalance just below it. On the 4-hour, we have an imbalance, so you could take this order block. And that would be my first target to the upside. So let me just redraw this one last time because I don't know if we get the instant break. I mean, that would be good actually. Then you look for that move. And just like $61,000 this week, that would be my target to the upside this week. Will it offer a reaction? I don't know, just like $61,000. We will have to wait for the volume and the reaction. So I have spot orders at 44K in case the exchanges freezes when it happens. Well, 44K could be wrong, but I don't think we dropped 44K. I mean, if we do, I'll take it because that would be a massive opportunity, but I would be fairly surprised if we do. I think the most obvious thing to me would be to front on that low, which at least on my feed, I'm seeing every single person talking about. I don't know why it's 44K. Everyone is looking at that level. And then I'm seeing a lot of 35K as well. Well, if Bitcoin drops to 35K, I will be the first to admit I would be the most surprised person on the planet. I think the probabilities of this happening are insanely low. Could be wrong. I'm not some guy that can read the future, but we have had pretty good higher time frame prediction. This one included with the rejection at $67,000. Okay, so I don't know if we get 44. Now going back to this week, that would be the weekly plan. You can remove the timings, or we can keep them maybe. Yeah, let's keep them. It's fine. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would be the Sunday plan. And did I forget something? I did. And well, we can. Yes, we can remove this once we see the bounce. So that would be it for the Sunday plan, guys. Ideally looking for more sideways price action, still a Monday high, drop into a Tuesday low to a monthly open low, which would be the Wednesday daily open, to then look for that reversal to the upside. Am I opening along here? No. Why? Because it's the weekend, and I think that if we wake up tomorrow with the confirmation of a move higher and then we get that rejection, then it would be a much easier long position to take, and you can size up quite aggressively. At least that's personally how I trade. Right here for me, the weekend. I'm never too comfortable trading the weekend. Is losing 49k a so? Well, the thing was saying that losing 49k would be a sign of weakness. I just think it would be quite stupid to say, because, okay, let's say that losing $49,000 would be a sign of weakness. Then at this point, what what do you want to do? Do you want to open a short at $49,000? I don't think you want to look for shorts. As mentioned, that was the only swing trade, but not only the only swing trade, the only swing short. That was $67,000. Any trade below that, I think, is not the best swing trade. Of course, we had the Monday pivot this week, but it was still very close to 67 as we topped out at 65. So let's say you want to classify the break of 49 as a sign of weakness. Doing like, you cannot do anything with this information. If we drop there, for me, I would still look for a reversal to the upside, because Bitcoin is factually, it's not an opinion, but Bitcoin is an asset that goes up into the right, okay? It doesn't go down into the right. If you go to the index, since Bitcoin's inception back in 2008, well, that doesn't go to the start. This one is very good. You can see Bitcoin is an asset that goes up to the right. So any significant retracement to the downside, you want to look, not financial advice, but that's what I'm doing, to accumulate spot positions. And any big drop, of course, you want to look for longs and not short positions, even for swing trading. We called the swing short at 67, so I'm not saying that I'm swing long and underwater at the moment. You guys all know my view right here is still one more low, but classifying a break of $49,000 as a sign of weakness is just very useless in my opinion. Okay, it's just not, it just doesn't offer you anything. Okay. Hello, Cairo. I hope you're well. 38.5k wick would be interesting, bro. We're not, guys. I could be wrong. Okay, I could be wrong. I have been wrong before, not often. That was the only time I was wrong. That was the deviation above 75. But I don't think we dropped to. I don't think we dropped below 40, guys. Okay, just my opinion. So yeah. Now, with that said, we can move on to Ethereum. Fun fact on Ethereum, it actually played out how I wanted Bitcoin to play out. What did we have? The 4-hour imbalance, and what happened on Monday? We filled that 4-hour imbalance for the Monday pivot and that rejection to the downside. So the setup worked. It's just that it worked on Ethereum, and on Bitcoin, once again, it got front run by a couple of dollars. So that's mainly what I wanted to outline on Ethereum. The Monday pivot played out on the 4-hour imbalance, which was a much better setup, and not much else to say except that Ethereum, of course, will follow Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes sideways and then drops, that's what will happen on Ethereum. So yeah, that's the only thing I guess I'm gonna outline for Ethereum. I guess I'm gonna fix the daily open as well while I'm at it. Right there. Anything else to note on Ethereum? Would be the same levels than Bitcoin, probably, with this order block. I didn't look at the volume profile actually. Let me see. What do we have on the volume profile? Oof. Okay, so we do have the point of control. That will be a very interesting level to look at. Okay, that is actually a very nice level. So around 62.8. That would be your level. Just take this. That would be it. Okay. Do we have a 4-hour by any chance? No. Coinbase? No. Binance? No. Okay. Hmm. What do you think a low could be for ETH? Anything between, let me think. Yeah. Think 1.3. That's the only level I can see really. And that was the level that I got front on the last low on April, if you guys remember. So I would say 1.3k still on Ethereum. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I am looking for. Last cycle, ETH bottom in June before BTC did later on. I don't remember that, did it? Well, I'm not gonna waste too much time, but yeah, I mean, if it bottom in June, Bitcoin had bottom in December, November, end of November. Okay, so it did bottom before Bitcoin. I'm just going based on the always we get a 786 retrace. Well, sir, Fibonacci isn't the strongest tool that you can use in the market. You can believe me or not, but I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but I don't think that any Fibonacci trader has had the level of predictions that we have had during this entire downtrend. I am admitting I was wrong once, which was on the deviation above 75k, but even then, this still did offer a massive short position, which I personally took, if you guys remember. So, yeah, I don't think Fibonacci is the most interesting tool to look at. Doesn't give you liquidity. Can you look at Aave? We can look at Aave. Have I missed any question? Is losing, going, been here. Okay, can you look at Aave? Where is Aave? Oof. Was that level that we outlined? I mean, still offered a bounce. How long ago was that? In May? 2 months ago. Well, that's a good recovery. Took out that wick and got the bounce. Not a fan of this daily imbalance, definitely. Plus, actually, that would be a retest of these lows. So that's what I would look for on Aave. If it can offer it. It's quite a big drop, so I don't know if it comes. Is it the best level though? Oh, that's gonna be a hard one. This one is actually hard. And that one would be a bit lower. The drop would just be so big though. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm trying to think. Don't want to waste too much time, but at the same time, I do want to give you a good setup. I'm gonna have to spend more time on this one. Why is my chair making so much noise? I'm sorry if you guys can hear that, but it is pretty comfortable, so I can't really complain. I'm struggling to find the best level on Aave. I would say it doesn't offer you a straight drop to these levels. And I don't know. I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know. I'm not gonna claim to find the best levels. I'm just not finding good confidence on this coin. I'm not. I'll come back to it in a bit. Okay, just let me cover other questions. I will come back to this at the end of the live stream. Can you peek at JTO, please? I got in at 30 cents on rumors of them launching Hyperliquid on Solana. Peak in JTO. Someone asked about it 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's still there. Well, it didn't offer that drop. Probably look for that retest actually. kind of matches with the drawing already. Let me just hide this because that was, yeah, that was a daily imbalance. The daily imbalance. Daily, 12 hour, 4 hour. Probably don't want to lose this level, this area on JTO. 0.70 cents. So 70 cents, 0.70 cents, dude. 70 cents, I think you don't want to lose this area on JTO. That would be your retest, which funnily enough actually lines up with the drawing. And you could target up to $1. That's what I would say on JTO right now. Of course, we get that reversal after that. I don't know. I'm just assuming that it's a pretty bad coin, just like the rest of the market. But for now, it does look fairly decent. However, watch out for the volume, of course, because we can already see a 4-hour imbalance up here, which is getting recovered. So watch out for a bit of a drop, which would actually line up with that drop into resistance, into support, sorry. So yeah, that's what I would look for on JTO, 68 cents to be exact. It was me. Oh, it was you. I don't remember your name because it's quite funny. Dude, I don't know if it's quite funny actually. Can you can you please go through the stocks you have in your watch list and what levels you are looking for investing? Well, my stocks have been made public. Netflix, I am still looking. I did outline the level which we are getting the job. First of all, Netflix 66 is still the move I'm looking for on Netflix. So probably that's what I mean, not probably, that's what I'm looking for on Netflix. A bit of a drop, my bad. Bit more of a drop, and then after that, we can look for that recovery to the upside. Other than that, I have actually sold Circle. I got in at 92, I think, and I sold it at 106 just because I expected Bitcoin to drop. So I actually exited this. And I think with the money that I've exited, I will put this into the Bitcoin long, which I'm thinking about. DLO, I'm still holding. Okay, so that's a stock that I'm personally holding, not looking at any level. It's just a good stock. ERO, same thing, still holding. ELV, again, still holding. And these are all of the stocks that I'm watching. Of course, ALAB just took off without me, which is a shame because that's actually a massive runner. Dude, 300%. But yeah, I wasn't able to catch the stock. AMD, I exited quite early. That was a pretty good support area. Yeah, maybe I sold too early out of this one. But that's my watch list for now. I'm looking at one more stock, but I don't think I want to expand my wallet right now, which is AMPX. It's pretty much battery technologies. Looks very interesting. It's a bit early stages, but I think it's a very interesting stock. I just don't know if I'm gonna buy it. And again, I don't have any level. For most stocks, I don't have levels. It's just maybe for the bigger stocks like AMD and Netflix, I have levels in mind. Netflix being 66. So these would be it for the stocks. We can also move on to the stock market. Well, oh wait, that's $30,000 is still holding as that psychological level that we outlined. So once again, do we get that drop into August, September to coincide with a Bitcoin bottom? This is still what I'm personally hoping for. Doesn't have to happen, but once again, $30,000 is a massive psychological level. So that is something to keep in mind. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say for the stock market. Gold and silver, you all know my view. Guess what? These keep on dropping. Silver keeps on dropping. While most people still believe that it would go higher, that resistance was literally shared month in advance. Further a rejection, and you guys all know the rest. So with that said, I will do a quick recap on Bitcoin, and if we don't have any more questions, of course send them now in the live chat. But if we don't have any more questions, then I am going to end the stream right there. So overall, Bitcoin is moving lower, well, as expected. both last Sunday and also on the Tuesday live stream. It did move just a bit lower than expected, which was the break of that low. But overall, it's not a big problem on my part because right now we got a quiet Friday as I expected, plus sideways weekend, which once again I wanted to see as outlined on Thursday during the Thursday update. This week, what I'm looking for would actually be once again a weekly open pivot. If you guys remember, that was a pattern that we were looking at previously. So I am looking for a weekly open pivot. Will I trade it? Probably not, because I always like to go to sleep, wake up on Monday and see what price has done, sorry. If we get this, this would be a first interesting level to get a Monday high. However, will this be a weekly high? I don't think so. I think if it offers a rejection, I would look for that long into Tuesday, Wednesday, which is the monthly open, ultimately targeting a move to the upside with the first target being $62,800. Anyways, if we get this, I will film an update on both Tuesday and Thursday. As promised, this will be every week, Tuesday and Thursday updates to update the targets. Will this be a big resistance or can we target higher after that? This remains to be seen. So with that said, thank you everyone for joining the live stream. I always say thank you. Can you look at Diesel, dude? You say this as I end the live stream. Let's look at Diesel. Diesel. I'm getting voice cracks, man. What's wrong with me? Let me drink some water. I mean, there it is. Broke support. I think we're gonna move towards the gap fill. Right? What happened after the support offered the bounce? We filled the CME gap. I mean, it's not CME, I think, but still a gap. All shared in advance, by the way, for anyone that's new, so no hindsight. Right now, we broke that support. You are probably targeting a fill of the gap below at 750. So not too much to say on Diesel. That's what I am personally looking for. This count, of course, right now looks broken. 1, 2, 3, 4, as we broke that support. Still offered a very nice bounce, but yeah. And Ave. Oh yeah, Ave, my bad. Thank you. Okay, so if you guys want to leave, for those of you who want to leave, please leave a like on the live stream. Thank you all for joining. I will just try to do a quick analysis on Ave. But once again, thank you everyone for tuning in. And if you could leave a like on the live stream, that would be massively appreciated, because almost everything that we do is for free, including the Discord daily updates. Okay, so moving on to Ave. Let me fix my seating for this. So, Ave. What do we have here? Let me hide this for now. I mean, we said, wow, that wick is ugly. That wick is ugly. So I would say we're still targeting that wick to the upside. That would be 1. That would be 2. 83.8. Doesn't really matter. Daily. Would be the daily open. 12 hour. 4 hour. That has been tested. 1 hour. We have this order block, I guess. We have an imbalance? No. I prefer this level below. That's how I would adjust it. Do I like this level? This is the big question. I'm gonna put this in dashed for now. I don't think I'm the biggest fan of that level. Can look at the anchored view up. Okay, this looks like it's going to potentially come up as confluence with the level, depending on how long the move down takes, of course. But apart from this, hmm. It's a hard one, this one. It is a hard one, I have to admit. Not the best con. This one is not bad. I don't mind this level, but this wick is annoying me. This. Did we sweep that? Okay, we did. So that's not a problem, actually. We already swept that low. So, what I would say, probably is gonna go for that high at some point, just because this wick on the weekly is super ugly. Okay. This wick is insanely ugly, so I would say we go for that. On the lower time frames, you could keep an eye on this daily imbalance. However, is this a good support? I do not think so. I'm just outlining it just in case you get like very good volume and a good reaction. But ultimately, I think the best trade on this coin would be offered down there to look for that reversal to the upside. I know it's not the smallest resistance support, sorry. It's quite a big one. 5%. I don't usually like giving this big of a support, but as mentioned, this week is just annoying me, dude. You could of course make it a bit smaller, for example, and do that. Where's that low? So you could do this, then that would give you a more accurate support. So I think that's what I would look for on Aave, and you can delete this level if you want. I would even delete it myself. I want to add it. I'm gonna add it just to understand what happens. I'm not trading Aave, of course I don't trade altcoins, but I would like to see what happens in the future in case this support holds, because of course this does help me for my personal journal. But I usually don't have these issues on Bitcoin just because I really understand how the asset moves. But still, I want to see how price reacts right there. So that's what I'm going to say on Aave. And that's a decent level. I don't mind this level around $75. Okay, so that would be your support. What about the fill of that 4 hour candle? Which one? 4 hour? This one below? Are you talking about this at 71.5? Yeah. The problem with this one is that you are getting too close to these lows. So do you really come all the way back down here, and then put in a kind of a triple bottom? I don't think so. Which is why I am more interested in this, because then if you lose this, you can probably look for these lows, and then of course it becomes, well, it doesn't become a game of probabilities. You will just have to look for other supports, because we can already see we have quite some imbalances down here. But I don't like this 4 hour imbalance just because it is so close to this. I wouldn't call it a double bottom because we got the sweep already. But if you get that close to these lows, then I would classify this as a triple bottom. So that's why I don't like this 4 hour imbalance. Okay, so that's what I'm going to say on Aave. Then we look at any other coins. It's been a while since I found like very interesting setup on any altcoin. I guess I haven't been analyzing too many altcoins. That could be an interesting one, but I don't want to waste any more time. Hype looks. So we could keep these for the last stream. For the next stream, sorry. Hype and Zach maybe. Yeah, right now I don't want to waste too much time on altcoins. What is Bitcoin doing? Not much. 4 hour. No imbalance, no imbalance, no imbalance. Okay. So with that said, I'm gonna call it right there, I think. Do we have any more questions? I do not think so. So with that said, once again, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for all the comments, for all the live chats. As usual, I really appreciate it. So with that said, if you guys enjoyed the live stream, don't forget to leave a like if you could. Of course, it doesn't cost you anything. For me, everything that we do once again is for free. You can also join the Discord if you want, which is free. Of course, I talk about my my daily thoughts. I don't always get them super right, but usually, of course, when we look for a Monday pivot, we get a Monday pivot. This is what's been happening every single week without wasting too much time. I am pretty tired. I'm gonna call it there. And, anyways, we've covered everything we wanted to. So, one last time, like the stream if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, of course, you don't have to like it. Subscribe, and I will see you all tomorrow morning inside the Discord. And, of course, for those of you who do not want to join the Discord, I will film an update on Tuesday and then on Thursday, as we will start doing every single week. So, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I wish you all health and okay, do that. I'm just gonna end it there. Have an amazing rest of your weekend, and I will see you all tomorrow morning inside the Discord. So, goodbye.